Hey, how you doing, guys? I have returned for another recap video, and this time it's from the doubleheader, UH versus Cal State Bakersfield for softball. And as you can tell on my title down here, UH goes 3 for 3, and Mya'Liah Bethea, Big West Field Player of the Week. And I got to tell you, I would give both games an A grade for sure. But I got to tell you, this was definitely a game where could have been a little ugly, and in fact, it kind of got a bit messy in one of the innings in both games. But fortunately, UH kept their cool, and they were able to come away with a semi-expected season sweep, I'd say. But first of all, before I go any further, guys, just remember, subscribe. That's how this channel grows. I want to keep my monetization status on my main channel. And the only way I can do that is with your help. So I'm going to put up my banner here. Which is pretty much the same thing as the title. So with that being said, guys, subscribe. Let's get into this. Okay, now this was I'll talk about the first game, and and by the way, I'm also going to give the scores right now if I didn't do that already. As you're seeing on these graphics here, UH came out with the sweep 7-2 in the first game and 8-4 in the second. And I'll tell you what, like I said earlier, I would give both games an A for sure. But there was at least one inning in both games where it got a little bit messy. Now, I will say this, though. It was in the fourth inning for the first game. And that was one time where where this could have gotten messy was because Cal State Bakersfield got quite a bit of hits. And I think they even held the hit lead at one point. But as it turns out, both teams tied at 10 hits apiece, but UH came out the winners with 7 runs total. They would end up getting the first 2 runs of the game. First of all was from Cierra Yamamoto, thanks to a Xiao Gin RBI. And the second one was from Xiao Gin herself, and that was from an Izabella Martinez RBI single. So obviously this was a good start there, and I got to tell you, for UH to get onto the board first, I thought was a big step forward, and certainly played a big role in getting this win. Obviously, this could have been ugly at one point, but UH was able to get in front. They were able to lead the whole time, but for UH to have a little bit of ugliness in that fourth inning, but still be able to come out on top, certainly told a huge story. And I say that because for UH to possibly cough up what was a 2-zip lead probably would have been certainly devastating. But fortunately, UH did not panic. They ended up getting some help from none other than Mya'Liah Bethea with this 2-run shot, which you're seeing right now. tell you, with things like that just generally don't really change, one could say that this softball team is virtually unrecognizable. And I say that because I saw the same thing with the UH men's basketball team this season. Because in the first part of the season, the UH men's basketball team was 2-6. And then after that, they ended up climbing up from 10th place in the standings to finishing 4th in the standings. And of course, you can remove UC San Diego from the stack because they were ineligible for the Big West tournament. So one could legitimately say that UH ended up 3rd in the conference, UH men's basketball. Softball was picked to finish 6th. And I would have picked them for 3rd because they got Dallas Millwood back after she missed virtually all of last season with an injury. And now they lost Maya Nakamura for the last month of the season to a knee injury. And I got to say that with Madixx Muramoto at second base now, that's what makes this team almost unrecognizable in a sense, to me anyway. I mean, and some might say, where did this team get all this inspiration from? I mean, from what I saw earlier in non-conference play, at least I saw flashes of brilliance from that earlier in the season when they blanked Kansas City and even took down New Mexico in one of the doubleheaders and even kept pace with UConn. And UConn is a pretty good team. The only time where I thought that they got outpaced was probably Ole Miss, where former UH pitcher Brianna Lopez transferred to. But anyway, as far as Bakersfield goes, they're down at the bottom of the stack. So one could say that this season sweep was expected, or at least 2 wins anyway. I kind of thought that they were going to get the season sweep. But as far as Mya'Liah Bethea goes, I'll tell you what, if that grand slam on Friday night was any indication, for her to belt a double home run in both games, actually, I think that's a sign that that's what she does. And what makes me say that this team is virtually unrecognizable in a sense. So UH would win it 7-2. This could have gotten close, but fortunately in the 4th inning, Bakersfield came away with just 1 run. But that could certainly have been at least 3 or 4 if UH had made more miscues. And UH would ultimately lock it up after the 6th inning, where they scored 3 runs from Mya'Liah Bethea herself, and Kaena Kali'inoi and Xiao Jin. And eventually, it was over. So obviously, like I said, I would give that game an A, and I would give the second game an A as well. And as you're seeing on this graphic here, UH ended up winning it 8-4. Now, this one actually got a little nerve-wracking because in the second game, unlike the first game, UH came out firing on all cylinders, and they would score the first 7 runs of the contest, of the second game anyway. So UH would win that one 8-4, like I said. In terms of hits, UH won that battle 12-10. And both teams made 2 errors apiece. But fortunately, UH was able to use a fast start to essentially run away and hide. As I'm also looking at the box score, UH scored the first 7 runs of the game in the first 4 innings, which included yet another double shot from Mya'Liah Bethea.
Home run, Mya'Liah Bethea.
And like I said earlier, I'm at the point where if Mya'Liah Bethea hits it out, that's what she does. And if Maya Nakamura hits it out, that's what she does. If Dallas Millwood hits it out, that's what she does. Okay? And so also add Izabella Martinez and to a point Madixx Muramoto to the fold, and you got 4 or 5 girls that can hit it out of the park potentially. Anytime, any place, anywhere. So, and why did this one get a little ugly? In the last inning, Bakersfield scored 3 runs when it was 8-1 UH. And fortunately, UH was able to stop the bleeding before it got any worse. Because if they had completely folded and let this one get away, oh my God, that would have certainly been a huge momentum killer. And that will be one time where if you're the Rainbow Warriors, you miss Maya Nakamura. But fortunately, UH was able to get out of a jam and come away with the season sweep. But as far as Madixx Muramoto is concerned with playing second base, I think she's covered every base. No pun intended. And here's what she has to say about carrying the flag after Maya Nakamura went down.
I feel like personally, like you can't replace Maya Nakamura. Like she's one of like once in a lifetime kind of player. So honestly, just try to do whatever I can out there. Like obviously, I know that I'm a different player than she is, and we have like differences. But I'm just trying to like help my team out any way I can.
Yeah, like she said, you can't replace Maya Nakamura, especially as good a player as she is. Of course, University of Hawaii's had their fair share of good players from Kelly Majum, Stephanie Ricketts, and those are just 2 off the top of my head. And even some like Brittany Rossi and Piper Neri, or even some from the past like Rachel Turner from 2018. I actually got to see some of those old games on Spectrum Sports since they aired a UH softball marathon from back in the day. Well, actually, not back in the day, but like going back to the 2010s or the late 2010s anyway. But still, I'm really proud of this softball team. And they're certainly proving me right that they were way better than 6th when they were picked, where they were picked to finish by the preseason poll. I would have picked them for 3rd. They're currently 4th now. And so, obviously, I would definitely give the second game an A as well. And quite frankly, if this team, they're going on the road for Long Beach State, and that's a tough place to win. And last season, Long Beach State came here. It was a pivotal 9-game stretch. We took the first game only to fall 5 times in a row after that. 2 of those, we would lose the doubleheader, go on the road to Cal State Fullerton. We lose all 3 games there. And then we'd end up taking 1 out of 2 against UC Davis. So, obviously, I think that with Dallas Millwood back, this team has that balance that they were seriously lacking last season, even though they had a 30-win season. So for UH, this is season sweep number 2. Mya'Liah Bethea also earning Big West Field Player of the Week. Big accomplishment for her. Big kudos to her, especially with especially with pouring in 8 runs off of home runs, because as I mentioned earlier, Bethea had that grand slam against Bakersfield on Friday night, and then she had 2 double shots, 2 double home runs in the doubleheader, 1 in each game. So that's 8 runs total. And I'll tell you what, if UH can come through with at least 2 wins over Long Beach State, with the way that this squad is playing right now, I think they've certainly proven that this is a squad that is almost unrecognizable. And they're doing the same thing that men's basketball was doing last season. Okay? If they can come away with 3 wins, then they really are unrecognizable, for sure. And dead some. Okay? So we'll see what happens. I won't be at the Long Beach State games because that's on the road. So I will be home for the season finale, or at least the home season finale anyway, against Cal State Fullerton. And in the meantime, I hope that we can come through with a season sweep over Fullerton and maybe cap the year off in style. Okay? So anyway, guys, that's all for today. And remember, subscribe. And I want to keep my monetization status. And the only way I can do that is with your help. I got to tell you, some of the softball players, I even told them about my channel. Some of them are subscribed. I hope you will be too. So thanks, guys. Subscribe, and we'll see you all for that final home game series against Cal State Fullerton.